Hey everybody, I'm Doug.
I'm Chris.
Uh, let's talk a little bit about this so-called election.
I was coming up with cluster and a creative word, but works out.
It's such a mess right now. I don't know if everybody's reporting the fraud. What do you think?
I think there was a whole lot of fraud. There's no doubt there's a whole lot of fraud, but it's like you get all these people to say, "Oh, well, I think we're going to overturn the election." I'm like, I just really don't see that happen, only because it's never happened. And
overturning an election's hard.
Yeah, and even if you let's go best case scenario for the conservatives. Let's say Trump did find something that all of a sudden the ballots were messed up and the machines were owned by Democrats, whatever, and the whole thing got overturned. You know what's going to happen? A lot of problems, because the the liberals are going to do the same thing they did for the last 4 years. That's not my president. He stole the election, which was a lie, but it doesn't matter to them. That's what they say. Now, what I find funny is right now you have your conservatives are going, and I've already seen it, that's not my president. He cheated on the election. So you got the same thing the other way. The only difference is I haven't seen a conservative bunch of people burn down a city yet. I'm just saying.
The fraud the people that are coming forth, saying that, like the guy in the post office that said his supervisor told him to come forward and backdate ballots. You
gotta wonder about that one.
I look at that and I go, it's one guy. He's a Republican, probably. Is he telling the truth? Who knows? But when you have so many people coming forward, especially where was it in Pennsylvania? They wouldn't let the Republican
wouldn't let them in. Matter of fact, the
ballot
judge
watchers
told them to let them in and get closer, and they pushed them further back.
Yeah, and when they did step closer.
And there was a lady that did, and I think it was Pennsylvania. It might have been Michigan, but I think it was Pennsylvania. After they shut the polls down that first night, and Trump had all that lead of everything, she stayed in her car and she shot video, and there were people pulling up, carrying in suitcases and stuff like that into the polling office, and then all of a sudden, the very next morning, all of a sudden that 700,000 vote lead left. So I mean, I'm sorry. There's a whole lot of questions. There's a whole lot of questions about it. Period.
Is the Supreme Court going to be able to hear this in the end and make a ruling? Will they even hear it?
I don't think they can say. I would say they can't say no to it, because if you say no
it's
to
a constitutional
something this important, you're going to disenfranchise like half of somebody.
It's just so much fraud going on. I
mean, don't get me wrong. We've always had fraud in elections, and I'm sure, and I guarantee it's on both sides. But I remember it was Florida that had like 3,000 dead people die that were dead. Vote for Obama. I mean, it's, yeah.
Well, I like the one the lady said, my mother passed away. Her ballot came in the next day, and she voted, but she had been passed away
Like
for
5
a day.
years.
No, just a day.
Just a day. Well,
yeah.
They've had
There's
people.
There's no way they could have voted.
What is it? Was it Philadelphia still has Joe Frazier votes? I think it was Joe Frazier. It was a boxer. He votes every year.
How do
He's
you
dead.
how do you justify if you can prove one fraud, they should be looking at all of it.
Well, the problem is if you can prove one fraud, and you know what the biggest point here is? We have always had the two-party system with the little independents running, trying to do things, and it always went back and forth. 2 years, 4 years, 2 years, 4 years, whatever. Everybody got their thing. It just went back and forth, Democrat, Republican.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it ever did. The wrench here, and why I feel that we've had so many problems, is understand Trump ran under the Republican ticket, and he wants to be a Republican. It wasn't necessarily Republicans that got him in. His is his own base. He turned a lot of people Republican because that's what he was. He was probably the strongest independent ever. Now, he'd have never got elected if he ran under an independent ticket. He got elected because he had the start of the Republican part. But he's never there because he would go against the Republicans just as fast as Democrat. That's why he got so much flack from them at first. They didn't want him to be their candidate. They didn't have a choice. The people put him there. And that's what they want out. They want that idea out and back to the just
Fraud.
They just want to flip.
I'm so freaking sick of hearing about fraud. I could puke.
Well,
How many people are? A friend of mine in Virginia. He'd been hearing about, go to the website and look at your record for your voting record. So he did.
how'd that work out?
It didn't work out too good because he didn't have one. And he was like, wait a minute. I voted. It should be on here.
But it's not as controlled a situation and as controlled information as it should be.
It should be because this is such an important thing.
That's why I was talking to somebody yesterday, and we were talking about that. There's no reason that you can't do the voting system the same way you do the IRS on the same setup. Be able to look it up, everything else, and you can everybody can keep track. Everybody can see. It would be so much more transparent. Right now, there's so many parties involved. There's so many dead spots that there's no reason that I can't, just like you file your taxes online, go online, do my thing, do my taxes, bam, there it is. Anytime I want to look, there it is.
Yeah. Every state has a computer system that you can go in and look at your voting. If you go in there and you find out you're not a voter, you're not registered.
But what I'm saying is, all right, say the computer says that you voted this way.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean that's what that ballot said when that by paper ballot. But if you changed it to where what you put on the computer, that's the only trace of it, and you can look at it and see.
Now, see, in Florida, when I first moved here, me and my wife went and had our driver's license changed because we moved to Florida.
Yeah.
And we made an appointment at the DMV.
Yeah.
And my wife was called in front of me, and then I was called, and I was standing right behind her. And the gentleman behind the counter says, you Republican or Democrat? And I looked around my wife's shoulder and I said, it's kind of a personal question, isn't it? And he goes, not in Florida, ain't.
No.
And I said, where I come from, you don't ask somebody that question. He said, in Florida you do.
Yeah.
He said, because if you don't tell me, you don't get a driver's license. And I'm like, what kind of shitty system is this? In Virginia, you don't have to tell nobody. You don't ask somebody if they're Republican or Democrat.
No. Well, it's like in Florida, if you're an independent in the smaller election, you can't vote. Like when you're just voting for, like, say Trump's running for president, and that whole ticket trying to right there, if you're an independent, you can't vote that ticket. Independents can't vote. It's only your. As a matter of fact, they just did an amendment trying to change that, and it didn't pass. You're only allowed to vote in your category.
Yeah, that's the way it was in Florida.
It is in Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it still is. They did a minute, tried to change it, and they wouldn't
Well,
let them do
no, because when you go to vote, I'm registered as a Republican,
it. Yeah.
and I had my choice.
No. I'm not talking about the main vote, like Biden and Trump.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about, like, say, Trump, Cruz, and whoever else is on the Republican ticket to run for the Republican office.
Gotcha.
You cannot vote.
Gotcha. It's man, it's. I know a lot of people that are freaking depressed over this. I mean, you think them people out there that are screaming, the Democrats that were screaming to the top of their lungs.
It wasn't that. What I felt bad for is I know what. I got 4 friends that have their own businesses on my Facebook, and first thing they said is they didn't know what they were going to do. They don't know who they're going to lay off. They don't know, certain things happen, and it's done.
Well, you're going to be paying more taxes if
And that's
if
what
they
makes them
don't
done.
overturn it.
And that's going to hurt the small business more than anything. That whole nobody under 400,000. That's a lie.
No, he's going to repeal
the Trump tax.
Trump tax,
And that created
means
work.
That means everybody's taxes. That doesn't mean everybody over 400,000.
So see, that's where I get into that. I think it should be illegal for them to blatantly put out lies in advertisement.
Yeah,
I saw so much just straight out lying going on in the advertisement. It's not even funny.
it's like the fracking.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he said how many times to different groups of people. Yeah, he's going to stop it.
Different people he was in front of.
Yeah, it all depends who he wanted to impress.
Well, it's like they want to get rid of fossil fuels and everything. They want to go to windmills. Okay, you ever seen how much lube and fossil fuel it takes to keep?
Did you see the landfill? There's one landfill in the country that takes windmill blades.
Yeah.
They're making them dig them back up because they don't degrade in the dirt. They're digging these things back up. A shitload of them.
Yeah, well, it'll happen.
A shitload of them. They use oil.
Yeah.
They
remember me and you were talking the other day, okay? And the electric cars are going to do this, and then Biden and Harris, they wanted electric cars and all this. Have you ever seen a mine for the battery, the stuff for the battery for electric car? That's a strip mine.
And what are you going to do with the battery once it's lived its life? And electric cars they don't have the most efficient battery.
No.
They go bad.
Own a golf cart and you'll know exactly how efficient they are.
They go bad. What are you going to do with them? I mean, I guess there's companies out there that refurbish them, but what do you do?
You only refurbish batteries so long.
Yeah.
It does not. It's not like they just keep using them until the year 3000.
Yeah. It's just it's mind blowing.
I think you can get maximum 3 refurbishes out of a battery.
It's mind blowing what has been going on for the last week with this election. If they prove that there was no fraud, or if they prove that there is fraud, whoever ends up being the president will be my president. Don't get me wrong.
That's just how it works.
I'll suck it up and live with it and vote the way I want to vote the next election.
Yeah, that's just how it goes.
I hope we hold the Senate.
I'm hoping we hold the Senate, and I really hope that, if nothing else, the House goes to a 50-50, even though Harris will be the deciding vote. They can't get rid of the filibuster, which makes it not matter.
Yeah. I just, it blows my mind. It blows my mind. Can you imagine if they did overturn this election right now? You know these frickin' far left
They would just start burning down cities.
Oh my, it's not just burning. You're going to see a lot of people on medication. They're going to need some medication because these people are out there are stupid.
True.
They're stupid. And I hope they do overturn it, but the chance of that happening,
It's very, very, very slim.
because a small amount of fraud that you see all the time is not enough to overturn it.
Yeah,
no,
this
it's the
is
Supreme
a lot,
Court.
This is a lot more fraud than normal.
The Supreme Court,
more.
if they hear it, which they've already been involved in this, if they hear it, they can overturn it.
Well, I mean, you figure, but people have been lied to from the beginning. I mean, you got all this stuff. Oh, there's no, what CNN, MSNBC, all of them say, oh, the voter fraud in mail-in ballots is a myth. That's a straight out lie.
Yeah.
You know, the Democrat runoff for, I think it was New Jersey, that happened in July, is still not settled.
Really?
It's still not settled. Both claimed fraud. And that was two Democrats going at each other.
Unbelievable. I just...
Now,
one way or the other, I'll have a president.
One problem I do see possibly happening is nobody's ever going to succeed again.
Well, you know, there's going to be a lot of people that are just not going to vote no more because they do believe that there's a lot of fraud.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fraud that went on, and if we don't find the fraud, or if we don't prosecute the people that are doing the frauds, you're gonna see a lot of people not.
You basically go back to, why am I voting? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, and it should be that way with Democrats and Republicans.
Yeah.
It just doesn't matter anymore because so much fraud's going on. The dead people that are voting. It just blows my mind. The dead people that are voting. How somebody's got some big kahunas. They got some big kahunas. And the ballots, you know, are they ballots that are being carried in suitcases?
Well,
I don't know.
Well, how many thousands of ballots was it that came in that had the only person voted for? They voted for Biden.
No other votes on it, and that was supposed
no congressman, no House, no Senate, no nothing.
That was supposed to void that ballot. If they only voted for Biden and nobody else on that ballot,
On the whole ballot, all
the
the
whole
way
ballot.
across everything.
it should have voided it. It was supposed to void it, and they counted it. Ballots were counted after the count was supposed to stop.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I do agree with Trump on another thing. It's you know, we've always known that night. There's no reason why we couldn't know.
I don't
that
know.
night.
That blows my mind that we don't. I don't know.
It's because they wanted time to make ballots.
Yeah, it blows my mind. It blows my mind that.
If Florida can do it, anybody can do it.
Yeah.
They knew by like 8 o'clock.
It takes longer for some retards to count than it does others.
All the memes on the count memes are just awesome.
Yeah. It just terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. It's I hope they fix this problem that we're going through in our country right now. And if Biden gets the final call, he's my president. Do I think he's going to go in there and just change everything right away? No, he's not going to go in there and change a whole lot. He'll change some stuff, but he's not going to. You're not going to see that drastic of a change at first. The taxes, you're going to see. He's going to fuck up the taxes. It's as simple as that. And believe me, I pay enough taxes. Believe me, I don't need to pay more. And it's not going to be the people that are paying $400 thousand are making 400,000 or more, everybody's going to share in this.
Oh yeah.
You know, how many jobs are going to be lost when he stops the fracking?
A lot.
A lot. I don't get it. Pennsylvania that lives on the oil. That's all they do there is oil.
Biden took the votes of not people working. Biden took the votes of people that wanted free money and stuff. He got all. If you look at everything he got, it was, even if you took out all fraud, all his vote came from inner cities.
But they still live on oil. That's how they make their money there. And oh Jesus Christ, they've thanks Pennsylvania. Yeah, blew it.
Michigan, Nevada, Arizona.
Yeah, you blew it. How many states are they going to recount? Is there going to be 4?
So I think it was 5 altogether.
5?
I think 2 called for a recount, and 3 they're trying to get recounts, but they want some stuff taken away first. Like your one vote period, that's out.
The old guy that stood in rain for 3 hours, and then when he finally got up there to vote, they said, "No, you've already voted," and he was like, "Bullshit!" I
take
stood in it.
That happened a couple times. I've heard a couple times.
How many old folks home around the country are doing that right now, or did it?
You never know. I mean, that's another thing they have to look at.
Yeah, it's God, there's so much fraud going on. Maybe if the high court will hear it, maybe they can turn it around. I don't know, and that's why Trump wanted his nominee voted in real quick, which was his right.
Well, yeah, I didn't see anything wrong with it.
Which was his right, and what a shame! What a shame. Well, this has been a pretty long video. I'm gonna go ahead and call it. We've
this could be an hour-long show.
I listened to a lot of people, and a lot of them are like, I cannot believe. I don't understand. One thing I don't understand is why do we allow the Associated Press to call the winner? I mean, nothing's set in stone. It's not set in stone.
It's just everybody is so used to. You have to remember something. This is coming from a time when people trusted the news. It might have still been a little on a biased side some way or another, but they trusted it. It's what I put to a lot of people now is it's changed from if you remember Walter Cronkite. This is the news.
Yeah.
And you decide. Now it's not that. It's not anymore. It's this is the news and we've told you.
It's a shame. It's a shame. But I'm Doug.
I'm Chris.
If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to comment, put it in the comment. And subscribe. We'll talk to you on the next one. Bye.